රිවයින්ඩ් කරන්න පුළුවන් නිසා මුකුත් මගේ වෙන්නේ.
BOTV TV බලන හොඳම විදිහ.
Good evening. Tonight, cracking down. Government issues an extraordinary gazette banning 14 persons with LTTE links from entering Sri Lanka. Shootout. A band of robbers and police exchanged gunfire in Mathura. One constable killed. Concerns raised on illegal weapons in circulation.
Controls for the arms trade. To legalize the arms trade, it's very important.
Very high level of small arms circulation in Sri Lanka.
Speeding judiciary. CJ appoints 3 High Court judges to hear high-profile cases of fraud and corruption. In international business, sounding the alarm, Airbus says Brexit chaos threatens future in UK. 14,000 jobs could be lost. And in international headlines, a lost opportunity. US First Lady Melania Trump visits child detention camps amidst immigration controversy. Message falls flat on its face. It's 9 o'clock on the dot. This is First at 9 on Other Derana 24/7 Sri Lanka's news channel. Hello everyone, I'm Mahesh Johnny. Well, a golden opportunity falls flat on its face as US First Lady Melania Trump visits the Texas border. But the headlines are not about her visit, it's about what she wore. Stick around for that story coming up later on in the show. But first, we begin with the news of a ban against several members of the LTTE. The government has issued an extraordinary gazette notification listing the names of 14 individuals living overseas with links to the LTTE, banning them from entering Sri Lanka by placing them in the list of designated persons. The amendment to the list of designated persons under the United Nations Regulations number 1 of 2012 has been made through a gazette issued by Secretary to the Ministry of Defence Kapila Vaidyaratna. Among the individuals included to the list are LTTE intelligence leader Seelmaran Parathan and Sirasanji Master, as well as the terrorist organization's international finance leader Sivasubramaniam Jayaganesh aka Ganesh. Meanwhile, 2 suspects who were in possession of LTTE flags, uniforms, a Claymore explosive and weapons were arrested in the area of Oddusunan in Mulathe. 2 individuals who were in possession of LTTE flags, uniforms, a Claymore explosive and weapons were taken into custody by the police in the area of Oddusuna in Mulathe this morning. According to our correspondent, the items were discovered during a search operation carried out by the police. The items were discovered concealed in a 3-wheeler the suspects were travelling in. Underworld's criminal activities, especially shootings, have given rise to a strong dialogue within the society in recent times. The debate was further fueled today when a shootout manifested between a group of armed men and police near the town of Mathura, which resulted in the death of a police officer. The incident occurred when an armed group attempted to rob a jeweler.
A group of 6 armed men arrived at a dweller's located on the Gaul Mathura main road on 2 motorbicycles at around 10 this morning. Then the group had attempted to rob the establishment. Seeing this, a person has discreetly contacted 119 Police Emergency Service and informed the Mathura police of the incident. The police then arrived at the scene and a shootout erupted between the gang and the police as while they attempted to escape. The footage of the incident was caught on CCTV. Three policemen, a woman and a bus conductor sustained injuries during the incident and they were admitted to the Mathura General Hospital. Suspects too sustained injuries from the incident but fled the scene. When the police was chasing the suspects, one abandoned his motorcycle and had taken off on foot. He was later arrested from a house in Hunukotuwa. The police commenced a special investigation in search of the rest of the suspects and took 2 motorbicycles and an automatic firearm into custody. Accordingly, 3 other suspects were arrested while being treated to the Karapitiya Teaching Hospital, and one of them, who is being treated in the ICU, is considered to be a suspect in multiple murders and crimes. In the meantime, 33-year-old Constable Suranga Pradeep Veerasinghe lost his life after being admitted to the hospital. The Department of Police has decided to promote the constable posthumously. In the meantime, 2 unidentified gunmen shot a person travelling on a bicycle at the Vevara junction in Hikkaduwa this morning. According to police, the victim was admitted to Arachikanda Hospital in Hikkaduwa and later succumbed to injuries. Police further said that the victim of the shooting is Inasi Chaminda, who is considered to be a suspect in several murders.
Meanwhile, the Forum on Disarmament and Development says circulation of illegal small arms in the country has seen a drastic increase during the recent period. The Forum added that if the government is to control this situation, it would be pivotal for the country to accede to the Arms Trade Treaty, which sees the regulation of international trade in conventional arms that came into force on the 24th of December 2014. The members of the Forum expressed these views at a media briefing held recently.
Sri Lanka has passed almost 10 years after the post-war situation, and it is time for Sri Lanka to get involved, associate more on this kind of international treaties to see the kind of advantages Sri Lanka can benefit by associating, becoming parties to the international instruments. Sri Lanka is one of the trading hubs in the world, South Asia if you take Colombo. So having this kind of controls for the arms trade, to legalize the arms trade, it's very important.
So, very high level of small arms circulation in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is not producing even a bullet, but we import. The question is country like Japan, Italy, Germany, France. Most of the developed nations are state party for this arms trade treaty now. So in Sri Lanka now we don't have an issue with the national security to great extent. Now we have a question with regard to our human security in this country.
Meanwhile, former Director of Customs Samatha Gunasekara said that the number of Ceylon elephants have drastically reduced due to poaching with the use of illegal weapons. He added that within the last 10 months, 40 tuskers have been victims of poaching, with few being unreported cases.
This is a very serious incident because our population declining heavily due to the illegal weapons handling by various gangsters in the country. And also there are reports of the legal weapons also being used, as there are no proper systems or no proper mechanism in the controlling of these weapons. Because sometimes the political hands and their supporters and also the gangsters and the underworld people involved in this trade. Even the forest department and the wildlife authorities, they also can't control in this situation because the other party is powerful than the government officers.
Chief Justice Priyasad Deb appointed 3 High Court judges to hear cases in the country's first special High Court to try high-profile financial fraud and corruption cases. According to the Government Information Department, the special trial at bar will comprise Justices Sampath Abekon, Sampath Wijeratna and Champa Janaki Rajaratna. Cabinet approval was granted to establish 3 anti-corruption High Courts, with the first to be set up within the House of Court complex, and the new cases are to be heard from 15th of July. The Government Information Department went on to say that authorities are expediting the establishment of the other 2 High Courts as well. The special court are to hear cases daily involving money laundering, bribery and large financial crimes, misappropriation of property and criminal breach of trust by public servants. The remarks made by Anunayaka Thera of the Askiri chapter, Venerable Venduruave Upali Thera, following a religious event held to mark the 69th birthday of the former Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa, recently have become a much debated topic in the political arena. The Thera said the public would be willing to accept a dictatorial rule if it means ousting the current government. The comments also gave rise to various dialogues in the society, and today Minister of Finance and Mass Media, Mangala Samaravira, made his views clear on the matter. Meanwhile, UPFA parliamentarian Tharaka Balasuriya also moved to clear up any conjuncture surrounding the Thera's comments.
We also like to bring to the notice of the government the rise of the underworld, which has also resulted in 2 further deaths taking place in Hikkaduwa and Mathura today. I think we wish to especially bring to the notice of the IGP, and what we see is instead the finance minister, without doing his job as the Minister of Finance, trying to sling mud at Gotabaya Rajapaksa over a statement made by most venerable priest. I think the intent of that statement and the intent of most people right now is people are just fed up. People are fed up with this government. People have lost faith in this system. So I think what the most venerable monk tried to state was that if this system is not working, even a dictatorship is better where a system works.
Meantime, issuing a media communique today, the Minister of Finance and Mass Media, Mangala Samaravira too, expressed views on the issue. According to the communique, the Lord Buddha did not advise his disciples to help dictatorships, and any member of the clergy who follows authentic word of Buddhism will not make such a comment. He goes on to say that a bhikkhu discussion should be conducted on the statement made by Venerable Vendaruwe Upali Thera, just as the ones that were done in the days of the Lord Buddha.
In other local stories we have for you tonight, former chairman of the National Police Commission, Professor Emeritus Siri Hettige, gave an in-depth analysis to issuing pertaining to law and order existing in present day. Speaking at Hyde Park, hosted by Indiviri Amuatha, the professor said that the institutional fabric in Sri Lanka is weak and real issues of ordinary people are not addressed. He added that it doesn't have necessary institutions that are vital to resolve the issues, and the political debate is diverted from real concerns of the society.
Our viewers would love to hear about your ideas on the political scenario. What do you think is the most viable political solution for the country going forward?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is to find common ground, and I think we are really in a very serious situation with respect to economic and social issues. We really have not been able to move forward in terms of really creating a sustainable development environment in the country.
But why would you call it a critical juncture?
Well, it is a critical juncture because we have to make certain transitions, and we cannot make those transitions unless you put in place the institutions and the policies that are very critical to enable us to really deal with those. We need to really figure out how to restructure this economy so that we can make it sustainable. But I don't think that we are really concentrating on these issues. I mean, the political debates are really not on these issues.
Let's talk a little about the social issues emanating from the scenarios, the situations here. What social costs do we see?
The situation is part and parcel of the larger picture that we are talking about. So the point is that if you expect a very peaceful, very violent-free environment in Sri Lanka today, you are living in a world of your own. Actually, I'm not really surprised that we have the kind of violence, kind of crime that we witness in this country today. Because our institutional fabric is so weak that we have not been able to really address the issues faced by the ordinary people. And then of course we have the legal system. Again, we have serious issues and so on. And actually we just do not have the institutions that are necessary to really bring the whole picture together.
Well, that's a look at our program at Hyde Park, hosted by our very own Indiviri Amuatha. A repeat of that program can be seen tomorrow at 7 p.m. right here on Sri Lanka's news channel, Derana 24/7. Moving on. Venerable Galagoda Ate Gnanasara Thera, who was sentenced to 6 months of rigorous imprisonment, was granted bail today by the Homagama magistrate following deliberations of the Thera's appeal. The Venerable Thera was sentenced to 6 months of rigorous imprisonment on the 14th for verbally abusing and threatening Sandhya Eknaligoda, the wife of allegedly missing journalist Prageeth Eknaligoda, within the premises of the Homagama court complex. Homagama magistrate Udesh Ranathunga, upon considering the appeal filed on behalf of the Thera, ordered his release on 2 surety bails of 500,000 rupees each. The magistrate also barred the Thera from leaving the country. The group of 16 members of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party who withdrew from the government recently intends to work together with the joint opposition in the future. One of its members, parliamentarian Susil Premachandra, made the remark to media following a discussion with the group had with the leader of the joint opposition in Parliament, parliamentarian Dinesh Gunawardena.
It was decided during the discussion to accept Mahinda Rajapaksa as the leader of the entire opposition and take measures to make the necessary changes.
In
a legal sense, you cannot obtain membership of a party while representing another party through which you are elected to parliament. It enables legal action.
In the meantime, parliamentarian of the United People's Freedom Alliance, Kanchana Wijesekara, says that only those who accept the leadership of Mahinda Rajapaksa can join the joint opposition.
Holding talks with the joint opposition while accepting the leadership of President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe will not work. They should accept that there is no future with the SLFP and accept the leadership of Mahinda Rajapaksa.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Derana 24/7.
You're watching First at 9. Welcome back, everyone. We brought you an unfortunate event yesterday where a leopard was clubbed to death by a group of furious villagers in Kilinochchi. The incident occurred after wildlife officials abandoned their efforts to capture the animal owing to the unrest stirred by the very same villagers. The death of the big cat has sparked fury within the country, with many editorial comments being posted on social media against the villagers for their part and wildlife officials' failure to tranquilize and capture the animal. Amidst this whirlwind of criticism, experts believe the only way to put an end to this unfortunate human-animal conflict is an in-depth understanding and awareness.
Leopards generally avoid humans. They tolerate proximity to humans better than lions and tigers and come into conflict with humans when they identify livestock and other domesticated animals as prey. Research shows that leopards are the least likely to attack humans. They are cautious animals and in any confrontational situation are likely to back down. Why would such an animal overlook livestock and stray dogs and become man-killers? Leopards are among the wildlife afforded the highest legal protection in the world, and according to the Fauna and Flora Protection Act No. 22 of 2009, leopard has been named as a highly protected animal. Human-leopard conflict tends to increase during periods of drought or when the leopard's natural prey becomes scarce. Shrinking leopard habitat and growing human populations also contributes to increased conflict. A leopard was clubbed to death by the villagers of Ambalkulam in Kilinochchi after wildlife officials abandoned their efforts to capture the animal owing to the unrest stirred by the very same villagers. As the villagers were upset with the officials for arriving late. When First at 9 interviewed senior environmental lawyer Jagat Gunawardena, he said that one scenario where a leopard may threaten humans is if it is injured and unable to hunt, as well as if the big cat feels threatened.
Usually leopards have this habit of being rather shy. So when they see human beings approaching them, they usually try to slither away. or give a wide berth to human beings. But there may be instances where the animal is cornered. So suddenly out of fright, it will attack. Then if the animal is surprised suddenly when it is lurking in the bushes or sleeping, it may lash out in self-defense. The third is when the animals are with cubs, they may attack a human being in the vicinity to protect the cubs. So these are the only instances where a person may come in the harm's way.
He highly criticized the locals for making the incident into a spectacle.
In this particular instance, I see a deeper malaise in the society where they had not let the officials carry out their official duties. They had obstructed the officials and even assaulted the officials and chased them away. So they are not in a position to do it, and it is illegal for anyone to obstruct the services and duties of an officer, which is a punishable offence under the penal code. If the leopard has attacked the people and the one or two people had acted in self-defense, there is at least a moral argument to the whole situation. But here the people are running after the leopard, cornering it and clubbing it to death. And the most morally reprehensible action happens thereafter when they make it into a spectacle where they parade with the leopard, throw it around, poses to pictures with it as if they had done something very heroic. People need to be blamed for taking the law into their own hands and obstructing the duties of the officials.
He also elaborated on the legal procedure on such offences.
The killing of the leopard is an offence under Section 30 of the Fauna and Flora Protection Ordinance. The leopard is a strictly protected mammal, so it's protected under subsection 2 of Section 30, which gives it the highest degree of protection. And if a strictly protected animal is killed or harmed, it carries the highest penalties. All such offences are deemed to be cognizable offences, that is, any offender can be arrested without a warrant, and they are non-bailable too.
In the meantime, speaking to First at 9 Chief Executive Officer of Sri Lanka Wildlife Conservation Society said that Sri Lanka as a developing country is not seen encouraging or investing in wildlife research, which will eventually lead to the lack of awareness.
I think the main reason is that lack of awareness in people when it comes to wildlife. One of the biggest impediments is the lack of support for research. It's very sad that a country that wants to develop does not invest or even give the encouragement for research. Basically, the central government is not encouraging any kind of research. These leopard attacks or leopards encroaching into human habitations, we have seen a marked increase in the central province, especially in the tea estates. We have seen that, and now we are seeing that in the dry zone. This is mainly because people are encroaching into wildlife habitat. Leopard populations are increasing in certain areas, and the younger leopards are trying to find territory. And even this leopard, you can see, it's a very young leopard.
Business news now. President Maithripala Sirisena reaffirms the government's commitment towards uplifting local entrepreneurs in a bid to equip them to compete in the international arena. The president expressed his views on the matter at an event held last evening.
The Enterprise Sri Lanka program was launched in Colombo under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena and Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe last evening. The program aims to groom 100,000 entrepreneurs by 2020 through 16 concessional loan schemes.
Economic stability alone is not enough to take a country forward. We require investment as well as exports. Most importantly, the public should be benefited from this program. We need to give a lending hand in order to create entrepreneurs, which is why such a program is being created. This will develop the economy. The government is about to venture into something big. If these plans go accordingly, the country will certainly develop. If we abandon our investors by not creating the necessary markets and guidance towards having profitable exports, this program will be of no use. We as a government give a pledge to our entrepreneurs that we will render our fullest commitment towards the success of this program.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe says that the tax on imported machinery necessary for various industries will be removed to save local industries. The Premier expressed these views at a function held in Bandaragama today.
We get more jobs and more revenue from the services and manufacturing sector. To protect the manufacturing sector in the country, we have to look after local manufacturers. Now we can compete with imports. The best sweets in the region are manufactured in Sri Lanka. We will help develop the local manufacturing sector. We have decided to remove the VAT when importing necessary machinery. We're discussing what can be done about the interest rates.
In international business, Airbus has warned it could leave the United Kingdom if the country exits the European Union single market and customs union without a transitioning deal. The European plane maker said the warning was not part of Project Fear, but it's dawning reality. Airbus employs around 14,000 people at 25 different sites in the United Kingdom. Last week, the outgoing president of the CBI said sections of the UK industry faced extinction unless the UK stayed in the EU customs union. It brings together the EU's 28 members in a duty-free area with a common import tariff for non-EU goods. Prime Minister Theresa May has ruled out staying in the customs union. The UK is due to leave the EU on the 29th of March 2019. Let's take you to the stock market now. Shares at the Colombo Stock Exchange ended steady today, staying close to a 14-month low hit this week and marking their fifth straight week of losses. The Colombo Stock Index ended 0.01% weaker at 6,228.15. The Bourse fell 1.63%. This week, turnover was at 277.4 million rupees, well below this year's daily average of 942 million rupees. With that, let's get a complete picture of how the market performed during the week today. For that, here is Upul Athapathur from NDB Securities.
Foreigners remain active during the week, where foreigners closed as net sellers, where foreign sales accounted for 53% of the total weekly turnover. A net foreign outflow of nearly 160 million rupees was recorded for the week. Out of the weekly turnover, crossings accounted for nearly 44%, which was higher than last week.
Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Derana 24/7.
Making international headlines, the Pentagon has been asked to supply up to 20,000 beds at all military bases for migrant children held after illegally entering the United States. Beds will be for migrant children who cross the border unaccompanied, as well as those separated from parents. The move follows President Donald Trump's reversal of the controversial separation policy.
With US President Donald Trump making a U-turn on his decision to separate children from illegal immigrants entering the country, the Pentagon has been asked to supply up to 20,000 beds at old military bases for migrant children. First Lady Melania Trump visited a facility for migrant children in Texas, saying she wanted to reunite families. But her visit to the facility for young migrants was thrown into controversy after she was photographed wearing a jacket with the words, "I really don't care, do you?" as she boarded the plane to Texas. Defending his wife's choice of jacket, Trump blamed the media, tweeting, "The words 'I really don't care, do you?' written on the back of Melania's jacket refers to fake news media and that she has learned how dishonest they are and she truly no longer cares." President Trump says he has directed agencies to begin reuniting children and parents separated after entering the US illegally. At least 2,300 children have been taken from their parents since 5th May after entering the country without documentation at the US-Mexico border.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Derana 24/7.
very good evening and welcome to Forecast First. Your temperatures for tomorrow are to vary between 20 and 34 degrees Celsius, with the highest of 34 degrees Celsius reported in Batticaloa. Well, when looking at the map, a low pressure zone will develop in the western province and will gradually disappear. Well, sunny weather is forecast in the areas of Jaffna, Mannar, Trincomalee and Batticaloa. In the areas of Vaunia, Anuradhapura, Kandy, Colombo, Galle and Mathura as well as Hambantota, however, will experience some wet weather. That's all from the Weather Centre tonight. Up next is your city by city forecast.
It's Friday and that would mean only one thing right now. It's time for the good story of the week. This week's story comes from Kenya, where you meet John Magiro. Many parts of rural Kenya lacks access to electricity, and as night falls, the residents are left in darkness. John, using a local river, scrap metal and dynamo, Wangari built a hydroelectricity power station in the town of Jumbi. And today his clean energy solution generates electricity for 250 households, creating a brighter life for his whole community. The power plant has changed the lifestyle of the community to change from kerosene lamps to use electricity. And that is a part of your world tonight right here on Derana 24/7, Sri Lanka's news channel. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy the weekend. Good night.